earlier this week I went to an app launch party for this app called Click, and it's this app where you can start clubs on there basically and join clubs. There's a lot of like book clubs, run clubs, and the goal is to find people in your local area and to make in-person connections. So cool idea. Came on my radar because I have been unfortunately shopping around for new community apps because Geneva, where the Material Girls group chat has been hosted for the past 2 years, is shutting down in most locations around the world. I think it's only going to be available in like North America come July 31st, which I think will have already passed when you've seen this. Quite upset about it because first of all, I like Geneva. I love the Geneva team. I've been building that platform for 2 years and there are over 2,000 people in the group chat. And I know that like there's no way every single one of them moves to, you know, the next thing. So it just is quite like frustrating spending so much time building platforms, and then, you know, laws can change, the app's rules and decisions can change, and you can lose access to that community. Like we lose access to each other. I lose access to being able to, you know, communicate with Material Girls in that way. So it's been quite stressful. They sent out a notification that it's shutting down about like a month before it was going to shut down. So I had to pretty quickly decide what to do. So anyway, Click was on my radar. I had previously been on the app, and so somehow they had the Material Girls email and invited me to come to this app launch party. The app already existed, but they were launching a new version of it where you can sell tickets to events directly in the app versus before I think you had to like have a ticket link that just links out elsewhere. I got a +1, so Grace and I were gonna go open bar, like fun date night vibes. The vibe was so aggressively straight, like there's no other way to put it. And it was like the kind of straight people where like I would walk up to someone with my girlfriend and introduce myself and say, this is my partner Grace, and the look of like shock on their faces, like completely unprepared to meet a gay person, had not crossed their mind that they might run into a gay person, like, and I caught them unprepared, basically. Also, it's kind of funny because they were like men there, and I realized like all the Material Girls events are very girl forward. Like we rarely have a man there. If he is, he's gay. We literally walked into this room and Grace turns to me and she goes, I forgot men can come to these things. And they were just like the straightest of men. Like they were wearing like turtlenecks in the summer, and they were like bringing girls into the corner to mansplain the investment round that this app is going through. And like, oh my God, it was like crazy to watch. So anyway, we pretty quickly like stopped working the room because the girls didn't want to talk to us, the guys didn't want to talk to us, but there was an open bar, so it became like a date night. It was fine. No shade to like Click, hope your app launch goes well, but I think it became pretty clear like the people on the app are not necessarily the people I'm trying to like reach with the Material Girls community. You have to be like gay to be in Material Girls, but you do have to be able to catch a freaking vibe, and like looking at me and my girlfriend like we're zoo animals is not it. So we've moved on. We're going to Discord, and this was like quite a hard decision to make because I feel like Discord has this kind of like vibe around it where people think that it's, you know, like a gaming platform, which I know is like primarily what it's used for. And I always liked Geneva because I think it had such a like girly pop messaging platform kind of vibe, and I know people who like downloaded the app to get on the Material Girls group chat, and I was like, I just don't know if people are gonna like do that with Discord. If I start being like Discord this, Discord that, like I feel like it brings a different vibe, and I'm already dealing with having to like move a whole community over. I don't know about like having to deal with like the new marketing of like being on a different vibe, but anyway, I just really think Discord is the best place to basically, I was able to rebuild the entire Material Girls group chat, and it looks pretty much the same as it did on Geneva, so it's not going to be a big transition in that way, and it's also available in way more countries than Geneva was even before this latest like shutdown of the areas. I think Discord can reach pretty much anyone in the world, so perhaps we can even reach more people who originally weren't able to get onto Geneva. But that's all to say, this has been like quite a stressful month because I felt like something that was one of the coolest things about Material Girls was that we had this like worldwide platform, worldwide group chat, whereas I feel like a lot of other clubs and stuff, you have to be in a certain area to engage with it, and I want people in Material Girls to be able to talk to people all over the world. So join the Discord. The link to join is in the description. And honestly, it's a great vibe in there already, like very active, very cool. We have some regional rooms. If you ever want a new regional room, just let me know, but I just took the ones that were originally asked for in the Geneva and put them in there, but always open to adding new ones. It's really cool. People are talking in their native languages in their regional rooms, which is super cool. Not something that was happening on Geneva really. Lit the Book Club is now hosted in Discord, and as of right now I think it's at nearly 600 members, so I would call that a pretty good, you know, move over from the Geneva. Hopefully we can get even more, and hopefully even new people who now can access this via Discord want to get involved. But that is the group chat drama of it all. I'm doing a beginner crochet class at St. Margaret's House, and it's at the Create Place, which is their cute little like community art space. Here's a little table set up. We're gonna have like an intimate little evening with everyone and a crochet hook and their tapestry needles and just some cute yarn. This is the Hot Girl Summer issue of the magazine, and there's a great beginner pattern in here. So we're gonna be making these bow garlands. They're literally the easiest crochet thing you can make because it's just chains all put together. And then all these other like things that you can put on the garland are also pretty beginner friendly. So as people get, you know, comfortable and want to move up, I think this is great to just like make cute little things. So that's what we're going to be working on tonight. This is very cute. There's art up from all the other like clubs and stuff that meet here, and see like the after school group decorated the windows up here. Great neighborhood too. Grace and I are just sitting and having dinner by the window, and Paul Mescal walked by the window and we both did a double take. Like, did that just happen? He was wearing like, it looked like he had just been working out or something, like in a t-shirt and little short shorts. And first love sighting in London, so we're feeling like blessed tonight, but we did not invite him in. Unfortunately, we were too slow, and now everyone that walks by, we're like doing a double take to see if it's Paul Mescal again. Maybe he saw the pink tablecloths and like wanted to come back. But this is the first of 2 beginner crochet things that I'm doing at St. Margaret's House this summer. The next one's going to be doing little crochet scrunchies here as well. And they're just like £5 tickets. We're kind of seeing like what the vibe is, who wants to come, because this is my first time working with St. Margaret's House, and also first time doing events really in like East London. So we're going to see how that goes, and then potentially put on some more fun events in the autumn. So look out for that if you're East and want to come to some fun beginner stuff. We're going downstairs into the craft party. Look at us being so professional with our assets. Your hosts, Oana, and our little assets. Thanks for being here. Check out this view walking into the gallery. Oh, wow. Gorgeous. Over here we have a little zine library, so things that are made in the art design workshops and all the Material Girl zines, so people can look through, get some inspiration. Temporary tattoo station, of course, lots of little bejeweled things to get put on. Oh, Grace cut these into hearts. Our bar over here, and they're making us these cute little pink grapefruit cocktails, and then we're gonna do a like Last Supper kind of vibe with all of the zines and stuff being made going down here. So we're making fabric zines, got all the beads and trims and fabric and scissors and stamps and all that good stuff. Here are my current projects. I am feeling very inspired lately and having some fun with my little projects. I don't know quite what happened there, but I was feeling uninspired for a second. I think part of it was that I was making stuff mostly to like put it in the magazine and get everything like that together, but I have some cute personal projects going now. I think it's also being in summer, and it's like there's been a heat wave in London. I don't want like a bunch of wool sitting on my lap, like that is not comfortable, but I have some cute little crochet things going on, including with cotton. I'm going to be making the Rose tank from Wool and the Gang, and this is a new kit they just put out with Rose Fane. I love her stuff. I've been meaning to make some of her patterns for a while, but this is actually gonna be my first one. So I have this bottom of a panel going here. I actually need to frog this back because I didn't do a gauge swatch, and this is too big for what I want it to be. So I'm restarting with a smaller size hook. I love crochet mesh stitch. That's like a tongue twister. I just find it so relaxing to do. So I'm not mad about having to restart it. I did this in probably just a few hours. It doesn't take long, but I am a little mad at myself for not doing the gauge swatch and just like doing it the right way around first. Grace was around when I made this realization that I was gonna have to redo it, and she was kind of chastising me. She was like, didn't you just make a meme about like doing the gauge swatch even if you don't want to? And I was like, damn, called out. But just because I make the memes doesn't mean I'm taking my own advice, and I guess this is proof of that. So this is going to be the body in this blue, and then it has a trim around the edges of it. I'm gonna do that in red because I think that will be quite cute as a color combo, but I also have a pair of red tights that I think is very similar to this, so I'm thinking I could wear it with that and a little skirt, and it would be quite a cute little outfit. Next up is my cluster stitch scarf update, and I feel like I've talked about this for months, but this is for maybe the first time an actually good update, which is that it's starting to look like a scarf. I feel like I'm getting somewhere, and I also feel like I might have enough yarn to do it all in one, you know, colorway, which I was nervous about. I thought I love this cluster stitch pattern. I think that's gonna look so cute as a scarf. There was a while when I thought about abandoning this, just because every time I get into a scarf, I think I start scarves because I think they'll be a relaxing project to do, because it's often just the same thing over and over for a long time. Then I start them and realize it actually takes a damn long time to make a scarf because they have to be so long to like actually wrap around you. And I considered abandoning this when I realized that with this one, especially when I realized how many ends I'm gonna have to weave in. But now that I'm feeling some progress, I decided it's gonna be the next pattern in Material Girls, because the next issue is actually Q4 issue. So even though it'll come out like end of September, early October, it is like a winter issue and it's gonna go over the holidays. So I kind of need to be designing some winter patterns now in order to include those there. And I think this one will be quite cute. So I'm gonna finish the cluster stitch part. And then instead of weaving in all of these ends, because that would be a terrible thing to ask people to do, I'm going to braid them down each side and then do a border, perhaps in a contrasting color. I think that is a cute amount of contrasting color that I would do with this, to cover up the braiding on each side. I just think that might work the best, especially because of this cluster stitch stuff. It's like I can't weave stuff into each of these. It'll start looking weird. So that's my current plan. Stay tuned to see if that works out. I'm actually feeling quite excited about this scarf. I like how it's turning out. I feel like I have enough yarn. So we've gotten over that hump. I've been reading Crafted with Pride, Queer Craft and Activism in Contemporary Britain, and this is a collection of essays by different queer artists and historians, sociologists, curators, a bunch of cool people who are all writing about queer craft and activism in contemporary Britain. I found it super interesting because it covered so many different types of craft. It was like quilting, and then the next chapter would be about zines, and then about clothes, and then there was stuff about like museums and collections. There was just a really wide breadth of things that were covered. I felt like I was learning something new about a different area of craft in every chapter. But overarching through the whole thing, what I appreciated the most was the way that they talk about craft as a verb. And I think we're often talking about craft as a noun. It's a thing. We talk about craft versus art and which objects are crafts and which objects are art. If we're talking about craft as a verb, we're often saying like, I'm crafting this, like this is the object that I'm crafting. But in relationship to queerness, what they say really beautifully in the first chapter of the book, and then what other authors echo and kind of give their own definition to throughout the rest of the chapters, is about craft being a verb to queer people, as in I'm crafting an identity, I'm crafting a community, I'm crafting a home, I'm crafting a life. And they talked about how a lot of times the act of creation, the act of crafting and creating craft objects is not just about the objects and engaging with objects and creativity for queer people. It's about how do I want to create something that reflects my identity? How do I want to create something that serves my community, that does something positive for my community, that I can share with my community in a beautiful way? And it's about a lot more. Specifically in relation to textile crafts, there was a great chapter that talked a bit about queer family structures and how reclaiming textile crafts can be something that's both sad and emotional and also like really empowering for queer people. Unfortunately, there's often a lot of rupturing around queer people and their families. A lot of queer people have complicated relationships with their birth families, with the homes that they grew up in. That means they might not have access to textile objects that were created generations ago, that family line has kind of cut off and is not something that they're able to access. They might not have immediate family members who are creating things for them, sharing things with them, and showing that care for them through sharing textile crafts and doing textile crafts together and sharing them as a family. So reclaiming that, making textile crafts, and then sharing them with chosen family, with chosen community, creating an item of comfort for you to have in your own home and give yourself that comfort is both an emotional and empowering experience when it comes to the queer experience and queer relationship to textile arts. At the back of the book, there's an essay from a contemporary artist who talks about her quilting practice and how quilting relates to her lesbianism. She often makes quilts that are for the lesbian community. And the last paragraph says, a quilt is a devotional object, which I thought was so beautiful, and I had never heard that word in relationship to craft, but it's so true. Like when you make something by hand, when you make something that takes so much time and care and skill and dedication, that's absolutely a devotional object. And I thought that was just beautiful and so illustrates to that idea that crafting things for each other and for ourselves, that is something that you choose what to be dedicated to. You're choosing something to devote yourself to. It's very meaningful. I was honestly surprised by how much this book moved me. I knew that it was really interesting. I was excited to hear from queer artists about their practices and how they feel like their queerness relates to their crafting. But I found myself getting emotional at a few moments because it does just speak really beautifully about the way that craft relates to queer community and queer expression. I was reading it and it just made me feel really proud to be queer and an artist and a part of these communities, and to see it all written about with such pride and reverence was very special. So definitely feel like it added depth and it was helpful too, and just like finding more of the language to talk about why these things are important to me, resonate with me, why I identify with them, what it means to me to craft a life and to craft as a verb. So absolutely recommend this. I will link a copy of that below. With that, I'm excited to find my next read. I'll be back soon with more vlogs, more about what I'm making and doing and reading and getting up to as an artist in London. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you know when the next stuff is out, and I will see you later.